Okay. I will start with just a quick fit interview question, Lovepreet. How was your prior experience prepared you for this position? This is a business analyst entry level consulting.
Yes. Well, my previous experience has prepared me for the role of business analyst at BCG, because I've gained experience in analyzing business problems throughout my time, throughout my master's, through coursework, through competitions, and also through my time at Cedar Fair, where I was on multiple projects where we assessed what was going on with the operations to then determine how to then solve that problem. And also, I have excellent ability to structure problems, which I gained through my experience at Cedar Fair and throughout my academics. I really enjoy business research, which I think is essential to this role as well. And I'm really good at completing that work. For example, I participated in a competition throughout my master's where we had to do research about what the current problem is with Hudson's Bay and why their sales are going down. And we were able to win that competition largely because of our research being so well done. And my final point would be that I'm very collaborative. I'm really get along with the team and know how to work in a team. And I feel like that's essential for this role as well. And that's exhibited by my work experience and also through all the coursework I did throughout my master's, which was largely in groups and which I thrived in.
Absolutely. Wow, it sounds like you have some quite good experience. So, um, great. So let's go ahead. Let's go ahead with the case practice. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So here's the situation. Our client is a premium manufacturer and seller of women's leather handbags and shoes in the US. They are among the leaders in the segment in which they operate, which is a mid and premium price scale. They wish to grow rapidly and have approached you for possible options. Every store is selling both bags with exhibits taking 80 square meters and shoes with taking 120 square meters. And in addition, has non-revenue generating areas such as the cash register, making the total size of each store slightly over 200 square meters.
Okay. So our client today is a women's leather handbags and shoe manufacturer, and they're the manufacturer and they are the sellers in the US. They're experiencing rapid growth and they desire to grow rapidly. And they have a store. In each store, they sell handbags and shoes. Now, do we have metrics for what's a metric of success in this case of what are they looking to achieve in terms of rapid growth and how long?
Great. They would like to increase revenues. Doesn't seem like any time frame, but they would like to increase revenues.
Okay. And that's the metric. Now, I would like to gain more of an understanding of what their business is all about. So basically, could you describe the supply chain to me? So how does the whole process work? Do they manufacture everything themselves and sell? Is it everything done in-house, or do they have other people they work with here? Other
Yes,
stakeholders?
so their manufacturing strategy is that they source and manufacture at lowest cost destination, so low cost destination, but the designs are created at the company's design studios in the US.
Okay. Do you have any information of where these low cost sources are? Are they international, so not within the US?
No, but no, there's no information, just in low cost destinations.
Okay. Low cost destinations. Okay, cool. Thank you. And is there any information about okay. And their direct sales, so they have sales associates in their store locations that have like target sales goals that push for sales. Is that how that works?
Primarily their role of sales is their displays, particularly their 80 square meter bag displays and shoes that take up 120 square meters of their size of each store. So primarily their selling point is within each store, the physical stores.
Okay, so I'm going to put a framework together to address the objective here of increasing revenue for our client. Is that the right question to address here?
Yes, yes, the goal is to increase revenue for our client.
Thank you so much. So I'll just take a minute.
Great.
I'm ready to go through my framework.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So really, we're addressing the one question here is how to increase revenue for a client. There are two ways I would like to look at this. The first being the revenue and the cost, along with what's going on with the company internally and their ability to generate revenue. And the second would be our environment and how the market, competitors, and customers play a role in our client's ability to generate revenue moving forward. Now, under the revenue, I would like to consider three things. The first being the price and quantity that we're selling. So making up our revenue equals quantity times price formula. And the second being our cost. Under our cost, under the environment, I would like to consider three things. The first being the market size and the market at large and what's going on there. And the second being our competitors and what's going on with them and how are they interacting with our market. And the third will be our customers and what they want and if their needs are being addressed by our client. Now, going back to the first category of revenue and taking a look at price and quantity, there are three things to consider. The first is the quantity being sold of our handbags and shoes. So we want to see if what can we do to increase that. So maybe that's a new shoe design, maybe that's using different fabrics and different fabrics and different quality of materials. Maybe there's a push towards sustainability as a result of current world affairs. So we need to introduce a vegan handbag, for example. And that's one thing to consider. And the second thing is price of our handbags and shoes. So maybe given the current economic climate, our our customers are less hesitant on spending so much money on a bag, so maybe we need to adjust the price there and take a look at the price elasticity, and maybe there's something else we can do to have add-on features with bags to increase the price. The third thing is looking at other additional income streams. So maybe there's something else we can add as a service, possibly a bag cleaning service or a bag repair service, possibly, or maybe even personalized bag design that can be an add-on feature for us, ways for us to make more money throughout our stores. Now, taking a look at our cost, there's two things to consider here. One is our variable cost, under which we can consider what has impacted our ability to generate revenue. So maybe our raw materials can be sourced at a cheaper location. Maybe our shipping can be altered to factor in the cost of that as well. And then our fixed expenses, maybe we could take a look at the wages we're paying and the number of employees we have that impacts our fixed expense. And we could take a look at rent and maybe renegotiating that as well. And that's it for the cost category. Now going back to our market size. So under the market, we would like to consider the market size. So is there a new entrant that's taking some of our market share? Hence, we're not able to generate the kind of revenue we were generating before. We want to take a look at the market size. So is there anything impacting our ability to generate more revenue and capture market? And we also want to look at the trends in the environment. So what are other brands leaning towards, something that we can learn from them? So maybe again, there's a vegan bag that we need to be creating, or certain styles of bags that we need to be adhering to and choose. And then under customers, we consider if there's new entrants in the market and competitors, if there's new entrants, and if what are they offering to our clients, and where do we fit in within that sort of a competitive landscape? And if we're filling a gap, that is it being met by someone else, or are we competing directly with other competitors, and would that impact our ability to make revenue, to increase our revenues? And finally, under customers, I would consider what our customers want and if we're meeting their needs directly. So if we are a brand that makes premium leather, women's shoes and bags, are we providing them with the premium quality that they expect from us? So that's my framework. To start off with considering how we can increase revenues, I would like to take a look at the current revenue and the quantity we're selling and the price of our handbags, unless you have somewhere else where you think we should start off.
Great, absolutely. Checking on the the unit handbags, that's a great start. But first, just to touch on what you were mentioning about new markets. A question I have for you is, should they target existing customers, basically women, or should they also target men? So what do you think about entering the male luxury market space?
Yes, to enter the male luxury space, we would have to consider a few things. So, could I just make some notes if you don't mind?
Yes, go ahead. Don't take too long, but yes, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, so to enter the space of maybe entering a new space of targeting males in this category, we would want to make sure that there's enough, we want to take a look at what's going on in the market. So the competitive landscape, are there other competitors we would be competing against, and the trends in the market? So what do men want in the luxury leather goods space? So that's something that we should make sure of, and along with our expertise and internal company ability to operationally and in terms of design, be able to provide men with what they're looking for in the market.
Great. Absolutely. So what you mentioned about unit sales per month, or basically the number of sales that we're having, I have an exhibit for that. So just give me 1 second to share that with you. Here we go. You see my screen?
Yes. So, sorry, what did you say before this?
This is regarding what you were requesting regarding the current sales for our luxury stores.
Okay. So on this exhibit, I can see that we have a product by category ranging from bags to wallets. We have the display space that they take up in the store, and we have the unit price and the unit sales per month. From this, I could infer that the perfumes, though they're sold $100 per price per unit, so they're the cheapest thing in the store, but that's where we're generating most of our sales at $2,700. And sunglasses is where we're using less display space and we're generating the least amount of sales per month, which is understandable. But a concern here that we with our shoes, we use a lot of display space to market them. However, we're only generating $2,400 there. So that's something I would like to look at further at what about what's going on with the shoes. But because considering how much display space they have, they are not generating the highest amount of sales per month, which is something I would, considering that's our only way of selling is through display space. I would like to think that if something has more display space, it would sell more. Whereas like perfumes, it doesn't have that much display space, probably 3/4 of what the shoes have, but they're generating the most unit sales for us per month.
Great.
Mhm.
So using these numbers, what would you like to determine regarding the goal of increasing revenue? How would you like to look at this data um, regarding
Um,
increasing revenue? Figuring out which product category would be best to move forward with.
Yeah, I think I would like to explore the perfume category a bit more. So maybe that's a category we need to explore more, just because considering the amount of display space we have and the unit price, which is quite low relative to every other product category, we generate a lot of sales from there, or most of our sales from there.
Mhm. Absolutely. So not quite sure about most of the sales, even though by units, most of the sales. But just remember in the prompt, that there is the average size of each store is around 200 square meters. So thinking about that with the limited space we have, how would you use this exhibit to determine what's the best way to increase our revenues for our client?
1 second. So we have display space, and like you said, that generally speaking, we have 200. So looking at the display space over here, 200. Like okay, so considering that shoes take up most of our display space, so perhaps we can explore that category more because we're using a lot of our display space with that. So maybe taking a look at how we can generate more sales in the shoes category.
Mhm. So absolutely. So we have different product categories. And with this display space that we limited have with the 200 square meters,
Mhm.
how much how would you determine which of the product categories make the best use of the space in regarding increasing revenue?
Oh, in terms of okay,
Yeah, the best use of the space, because we only have a limited amount of space and we want to see which products to move forward with that would make best use of that space.
yeah, I would calculate the in terms of percentages, how much space each category has and how much sales it's generating to get a better idea of what's going on there in terms of our sales.
Great, great. Yeah, go ahead and look at that. Especially regarding the second thing you said about um sales per display space.
Okay.
Great. So how are you approaching this problem, Lovepreet? Could
I'm
you
so sorry.
share your...
Yeah,
Oh, no
so what I'm
problem.
doing
How would you
is,
approach this?
yes, so I've just made a chart with each product category, and then I've noted down this display space, and I'm dividing the display space per each product category by 200 square meters, which is what our the total amount of space that we have.
Great, great. Okay, so I'm just curious, Lovepreet, regarding your percent display space, just to come back to our objective, would you think that calculating this percentage would help towards our objective, which is to increase our client revenue? Do you think that would
Um,
help?
I think it's really just to understand right now where most of the space is being used, and then from that percentage, we can explore which category is using the most space, and then I can calculate the total revenue. Like so, we already have the per month, so we can use that. So
Mhm.
it's really, yeah.
Okay. Well, absolutely. So, the display space, I mean, regarding the percentage, you can tell which ones take up the most space just by comparing to, just by
Yeah, yeah.
creating display space or not. But I really like your idea about calculating which products make the best use of that space. So what
Mhm.
you said about sales per month, there's per display space. So which products would, for each sales per month, how would, for sacrificing display space, but if there's
Mhm.
more sales per month, that
Mhm.
would be good. So, yeah, I think that'd be helpful towards calculating revenue is which products make the best use of the space,
Yeah,
and
so
then which takes more or
yeah,
less.
so moving forward with calculating sort of the unit sales divided by the sales space.
Yep, that sounds like a good. Yeah, that's a good start.
Yeah,
Great. So I'll let you do that division. Yeah.
yeah. So unit sales per month, right?
hmm Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Per the display space, right? To see which per each display space, how much sales per month per
Yeah.
product. Great. So how's that division going, Lovepreet? Could you walk me through
Sorry, so the first one, I did a 2,500 divided by 80, which I got 31%. And then
Okay, I found this on the web. So the first one I did a 2,500.
sorry,
No problem, no problem. Go ahead. Go ahead.
sorry about that.
No problem. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the second one I'm doing 2,400 divided by 120. So I'm just in the midst of that.
Sure. And just remember these aren't percents, these are ratios, right? Because it's sales divided by square meters. So just remember this is a ratio, not a percent calculation.
Yeah, so the first one would then be 31.
Yep, about, yeah.
Yes, so about 31 to 80.
Mhm.
The ratio.
Yeah,
Um,
so yes.
and then this the second one will be 120 to I'll just calculate that right now.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Right, so Lovepreet, while you're doing could you walk me through like
Yeah,
for shoes, right?
yeah,
2,400 per, and then specifically at
yes.
120. How would you do that division? Could you walk me through?
Yeah. I'm so sorry
Yeah.
about that.
No problem, no
So
problem. Go ahead.
for
Yeah.
shoes, I would do the division by doing 2,400, which is the monthly sales per the month, divided by 120, which gives
Mhm.
me 20. So the ratio there is 120 to 20 for the sales. And then
What about perfume? Yeah, let's walk through this one by one, right?
yeah, then
Yeah.
perfume would be 2,700 divided by 90. So I'm just going to do that right now.
Mhm.
Which will be 30, so it'll be
Great.
90 to 30 in terms of the sales ratio. Then the next one would be 600 divided by 30. In that case, the ratio will be will be 20, so it'll be 30 to 20 for sales. And then the final one, which is the wallets, it would be 850 divided by 50, which will give us I believe 41.
Well, let's go over that again. 850 divided by 50, so that's 85 divided by 5, right? So 85 divided by 5.
You're right. So is that 17?
Yes, great. 17.
Sorry, so sorry
No
about that.
problem, no problem.
50
So where'd you like
to
to go next with these numbers?
so
Regarding our client objective, right? What's our client
yes,
objective?
to increase revenue. So the ratio seems to be most so with sales and the amount of space we're using with the sunglasses seems to be the most promising ratio because it's 80 to 20, whereas the other ones seem to be more distant from each other. So I would like to move forward with taking a closer look at the sunglasses and what we can do there to help increase the revenue.
Right, right. So right now we have sales per month divided by space, right? So sales per month would be the volume sold. However, to calculate revenue, we need something else, right? Revenue,
Price, yeah.
yeah, price. So you go ahead and see the unit price. Yeah.
Yeah. So now I'm just going to. Sorry, Stephen, what was the point of calculating? So the point of calculating the ratio is to see where most of it's concentrated, and then they want us to calculate the revenue.
Yeah. So we have the volume of sales per month divided by Squarespace, but we need to convert volume of sales over a volume of sales per display space to revenue per display space. And so you have volume over you have volume over space right now. How are we going to calculate revenue over space?
So let me just backtrack this for a second. So it's not going to be just like the unit sales. So these many
Mhm.
units sold 2,500 multiplied by 400. It's not that. What's
It's
the
including. So revenue is price times volume, right?
yeah.
So right now we have volume over square space. So we need to multiply by price, right? So it would be price times volume over square space.
So using the the values I got by dividing, I would multiply that value multiplied by the unit price to get the value.
Yep, and that'll give us revenue per square meter, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Great.
Thank you.
Great, go ahead. Yeah. Right. So walk me through your numbers. How are what
Yes.
numbers?
Just noting them down right now.
Sure. Yes.
So
Yes.
the numbers we got after considering the unit sales per display space. So for instance, for bags, we have 31. So I would do 31 multiplied by 400, which is the
Mhm.
price
Yes.
to get the revenue per space.
Mhm.
So the revenue we have for the bags is 12400.
Yes. Yes.
And
12,500-ish per square meter.
okay,
Great.
per square
Mhm.
meter. And then for the next one, which is the shoes, it would be 20 multiplied by 250.
Mhm.
So I'm just going to calculate that. Which will be 5,000.
Mhm.
And then we have 30 multiplied by the price of 100, which
Mhm.
will be 3,000.
Mhm.
Then we have 20 multiplied by the price of 150. Which will be, sorry,
Right. So it's 150 times 20, right? So what would it be?
sorry, where were you? 20
Right.
multiplied by 250, so it would be 5,000.
By 150, right? By 120 times 150 for the sunglasses.
No, isn't it
Oh,
20, yeah, 20 times 150, yes.
yes.
So it'll be 3,000 as well.
Yes. Yes. And now for the
Um,
wallets, this will be a little
Yes,
tougher.
well, that's, yes, so we have 17 multiplied by 110.
Mhm.
We have 1870.
Great. Absolutely. So we're knowing the revenue per square meters now. How would you like to proceed with how you would increase the revenue for our client?
Yes, now I would like to proceed to increase the revenue for our client by considering the So we do see that based on our previous comparison that the ratio of space to the amount of units we sell is the smallest for sunglasses. However, we're only generating $3,000 of revenue there. So I would like to explore the bags. The reason being is that considering the amount of units we sell and the amount of space we're using, we're generating the most sales there. So I'd like to see if we can capitalize on that further.
Great, great. So yeah, our client currently sells bags and shoes. So they currently sell both bags and shoes. So continuing with bags would be good. What do you think about continuing with shoes as well?
Yes, we can also examine shoes further, considering that the ratio, I believe, for that was also was 120 to 20. So we could explore that further, though the ratio seems to be much larger in terms of what we gain for the amount of space we're using. So maybe we can consider, take a look at shoes too, to see how we can improve how we're displaying our products there, perhaps, so we can generate more sales with the amount of space we use in the store.
Great, great. So the other three new products that we currently don't sell, they wouldn't be so good, right? Because they don't make as much revenue per square meter. So
Yeah.
great. Okay, great. So let's see. See next. So yeah, we're gonna go forward with the bags and shoes, right? Because they make the most revenue per square meter.
Yes.
Great. So we'll go ahead with the next question. So when considering possible geographical locations for new stores or expansion, what factors would you consider?
Yes. Could I just take a minute to note this down?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay, so when considering factors for where we can open new locations of our store, I would divide the factors into two categories, quantitative and qualitative. Yes, so the quantitative factors that I would like to consider is, or the sort of factors that are internal to the business that I would like to consider is the supply chain. So these locations have to be in places that we can easily get our goods to in a timely manner to make sure there's sufficient inventory for us to then make the sales. And the second factor would be the cost. So what's the rent, utilities, what does that look like in these locations, along with the investment costs we would be making? So what does it take for us to do the setup cost, for example, and then maintain operations? Then the third would be employees. So it has to be a location where we can hire the correct employees and retain them as well, and also train them to generate sales and operate accordingly. And then the other factors I would consider are external to the business. So that would be like our customers. So it has to be a location where the kind of customers are the customer persona we have, if it's the demographic of that location. So people that we are making our goods for are coming into those locations and buying from there. The second point I would consider is the location itself. So is it a location that meets our brand identity, or is this something that goes against it? And then the third would be reputation. So again, playing off of brand marketing and brand imaging. Is it a location that's associated with high quality luxury products, or is it a location that's completely out of the blue and doesn't fit the brand image? So those are the in total 6 factors that I would consider.
Absolutely. Great. Great. So those are great ideas. Let's see. Especially what I like about your supply chain offer. That's a really important thing to note. Let's see. So what are the possible options for new market entry or expansion, and what are some pros or cons of each? So new market entry or expansion.
Okay. New market entry or expansion?
Both.
Both. Okay. So what are the options that are available to our client?
Just a couple, just some possible options you think about when you think of new market entry or expansion, and the pros
Um,
and cons of each.
okay. Okay. And the pros and cons. Could I just have a minute to make some notes related to this question?
Absolutely, yes.
Um, if yes, I'm ready with some of my ideas. So in terms of options for our client for new market entry or expansion, I have four. So the first is for our client to make different sorts of cases for technology. So be it AirPods, laptops, phone cases, iPads, that's something, and the market's very large for that. And it doesn't require any different sort of skill. Like we already have the skill for manufacturing leather goods. So it should require some training in terms of making those sort of casing, but it's something that is very doable for our client. And the market, in terms of the market, it's not highly competitive. There aren't higher barriers to entry, though there are competitors in that space. So that would be a negative for us. However, we do have the skill, we do have the premium leather and tools to do that. We might need to purchase some machinery. So that's a con there. The second is apparel. We could start to make leather jackets and other leather clothing items. The barrier here is the expertise of making clothing from leather. So we know how to make shoes, we know how to make bags, but now hiring people or acquiring a company that makes leather goods would be our way to go. And there are there's competition in that market. The third is of leather good accessories. This is something that we could do given our skill level of already developing bags and shoes. Again, the expertise of crafting a belt is something we would have to work on, but it's something that's doable by hiring the talent and by possibly or acquiring a company that has that expertise. And the fourth would be making luggage. So again, the key points here in terms of the cons is expertise, which is acquirable either by a company or by hiring the talent or our current designers learning the skill. And there would be investment into possibly machinery here that would be required. And there's high competition in these markets because these are large spaces within apparel and the retail market. However, the pros of these is that these are all goods that are in demand, and these are all goods that, in terms of luxury, people are always looking for maintaining and purchasing, especially when it comes to premium leather.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Great. So the client walks in and they would like a final recommendation regarding how they would increase their revenue. What would you suggest given the ideas and
Mm.
the ideas we've generated today?
Yes. Could I have a moment to put my recommendation together?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Oop, let me.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Thank you for letting us working on this problem, and we have our final recommendation for you. We would request that we would like to recommend that our client can increase their revenue by optimizing its current display space as per the sort of products that generate more revenue per square unit. The reason for this is one, the bags product category is where most of the sales are generated, and also the shoe space is where most of the display space is being used, but we can generate more sales there and really optimize on that. And these are the two leading product categories for our client, and also the categories that their brand is more associated with. And also the third reason is there's many unexplored opportunities that our client can explore. For instance, whether that be creating a vegan bag, whether that be expanding into the luxury luggage market, or like technology accessory market as well. And the major risk associated with our recommendation is missing an opportunity by focusing on the bags category, or by focusing more on the shoes category, and missing a chance to perhaps pivot towards something like luggage. Another risk could be that some of these spaces that we can that we can explore into are highly competitive spaces, and there's many brands that for example, create luxury luggage. And also we would need to acquire people with the skills to be able to make these goods. Our next steps, if given more time, I would like to spend some more time exploring these other avenues for our client to increase their revenue. And I would also like to explore how the client can go about optimizing the display space they have for bags and shoes at the moment to increase revenue using those methods alone. Thank you.
That sounds a good idea. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, there we go.
How do you feel
All right,
about
how
it?
do you feel, Lovepreet? How do you feel that went?
I feel like I liked my pace better, in a sense. And I felt more like in control. Just like when I saw the exhibit, I was like, what do I want to calculate here? And yeah, so it took me like a while to be like, okay, we have display space, and we can, get a ratio of that with the monthly sales to see, display square unit, how much we're selling, and then use that value to get the per square meter of how much we're selling in terms of revenue. So that's something that took me a while to get, which I'm not happy about, but I'm happy that I got at one point, and the math was not rocket science, as we discussed. And then I felt like for the brainstorm, it was still a decent brainstorm, maybe not at A level. And then the recommendation I think was decent. However, in my reasons, I hope they're sufficient enough, but I just tried to take from each part of analysis, like the brainstorm, and then taking a look at the bags and the shoes, and then the risks. I try to really consider that, if they adhere to us and decided to focus on the bags and shoes, they might miss the opportunity in a different space. If they do enter a different space, there's a lot of competition there, and they need the skill to be able to do that. So I think it was comprehensive overall. Like, what's your take here?
Absolutely. So yeah, let me share my screen and walk through what I was thinking. Let's see. Okay, great. Oh, do you see my screen?
Yes, I could see it.
Yeah, great. Okay, so yeah, great job. There were a number of notes that I had. Let me pull up. Oops. Yeah, so let me pull this up. Yeah, there's a number of thoughts I had. The number one thing that I kept coming back to in my notes was that to come back to the objective. And so the opening was good. You had a good recap and a good job clarifying the objective, right? Increased revenue. There were some clarifying questions that you could have asked, but again, like they were not so you asked the important one, the manufacturing strategy, like the supply chain, you asked about location, and you asked about yeah, but you could definitely have worked on the market share. Oh, you also worked on the competition. You asked a lot about competitors. So that was good too.
Yeah.
And so that was good.
But to
And
ask about
just let's
so it
see.
says that I should have asked about manufacturing. I think I did ask about manufacturing, but not manufacturing strategy. And then it
Yeah,
says,
I wouldn't be too hung up on like the exact wording. Supply chain was good. Yeah,
yeah.
that was a good thing to look into. So moving on, the framework you took about 2 to 3 minutes, so we could do a little bit
Okay.
faster.
Mm.
But there was a pretty big red flag. I mean I don't mean to be coy with it, but I hope you can entertain with this. What's the client objective?
It's to increase revenue.
Yes, absolutely. And what was the top buckets of your framework?
The top buckets of my framework were revenue, so it was quantity and price and cost, and then it was the market, which was market size, competitors, and customers.
Absolutely. So there was one part that was a red flag was you included costs, right? And
Yeah,
so
I didn't. I should have
even
not done that.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. In a revenue increasing case, like costs are just
yeah. Like
that's a red
cost,
flag,
like
right?
I made that mistake before too, and cost is with profitability.
Exactly, exactly. So make sure you make a note of that. The key thing that I kept coming back to was in my notes was returns to the client objective, right? Which is the increased revenue. And
Yeah.
so
So I for revenue, I've sure just focused on sales and price. So
exactly,
that
and
was
maybe
sales.
some competition on the outside. But yeah, having cost in your framework, that was immediately something I'm like, oh, no, oh, that's not good, you know. But that's
Yeah.
okay. It's just practice. We'll keep on going.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, just before we go any further, I just want to say, like you had mentioned like earlier, that like, oh, let's do like 10 practice cases in like the next 3 weeks. And yeah, we can probably do that, but I think it'd be really important if we like maybe tomorrow if we did this case again, right? After I
Yeah.
send you
Yeah.
the notes and
Yeah.
after I send you the
Yeah.
video. So yeah,
Yeah.
let's do that tomorrow. Is that okay with you if we just redo
Yeah.
this?
Yeah. That works for me. Yeah.
Absolutely
Mhm.
great. Okay,
Yeah.
we'll figure that out later.
Yeah, I'm just
Um,
saying like in general, like get more practice in, right? Because then you just like get into that mode. Like right now I'm like reviewing information, but it's like I need to get in more practice.
mhm. Yeah,
Sorry about
yeah. Let's just make sure we get this one down pretty good, right?
yeah.
So yeah. So you had I forgot basically which ones you had talked about in the framework. Yeah, you talked about sales through marketing. You talked about the marketing efforts, I think. I think you introduced a lot of launching new product categories, which was awesome.
Mhm.
And that was really cool. You missed some acquisitions, like maybe acquiring some other companies.
Mhm.
So remember,
Yeah.
remember this is a revenue growth uh
Mhm.
question.
Mhm.
So definitely going back to the mini MBA module and just
Mhm.
making sure you understand what drives revenue. What are some
Yeah.
I think that there's I think in the I took some notes from a while back. Um gosh. Um I'll pull some, but basically it has some ideas in the mini MBA module for increasing
Yeah.
revenue. And so they're here. And so yeah. Um yeah, so here and maybe going internationally, but that's
Mhm.
really okay. You got two of them that were really important. It's just
Yeah.
more reviewing like the revenue case, which I
Yeah.
definitely need to do too.
Mhm.
But yeah, so targeting the existing customers, and they should also target men.
Mhm.
I think it's good to look at the market landscape.
Mhm.
And yeah, as well as the design. But exist to an existing customer is simpler. So I'm not sure if that was your conclusion, but or if you had a conclusion. But yeah, definitely make sure to conclude your thinking. With question 3. So first, good job going over the exhibit. Good job in the exhibit. And yeah, so the ultimate goal was to get to this final number, revenue per square meter, right? Because they make clear in the prompt that that 200 square meters is the limit, their bottleneck kind of,
Mhm.
and so definitely I think taking in this exhibit without like immediately jumping to like, oh, we should look at this, we should look at this,
Yeah.
taking time to again return to your objective. This is a note I made again and again in the notes. It
Mhm.
returns to your North Star, right?
Yeah.
I even like when I took notes, and I definitely need to be like better about this too. So you know what I mean? I'm just trying to give feedback.
No problem. Yeah.
But hold on, let me make sure I pull this up. shoot. Yeah. So when I wrote, I'm not sure if you can see, but basically when I took my notes, whatever, when I look at objective, I just did North Star with like big stars and
Yeah,
big like
yeah.
that
I think I
is
should draw each page. I'm always going to draw a star on it to remind myself,
exactly.
right?
What is your
Because
objective, right? What is your
yeah,
objective?
like with the exhibit, I can just take it like instead of being like, oh, because you know the examples, I remember like people reading the table and stuff, but it's like you don't need to do that. Like yesterday in my case, Andrew said the same thing, that you don't have to do that. Just look at it and be like, what can be done here? Okay, so our
Yeah.
objective is to increase revenue. We can calculate the display space. So the per display space, what's the number of units that we're selling? And then from there, what's the price, how much revenue are we generating per unit, per square space?
Yeah. So remember, come back to revenue, right? Come back to the North Star. And so yeah, so basically with the 200 square meters as a limit, what product categories make the best use of those revenue of the which makes the most revenue per square meter. And so we eventually got to that. And the bags and the shoes, so that's good. The thing is, yeah, definitely another thing that I'm seeing is like you're like when you like put your head down, just try and grind through the math. So maybe something you can do is, okay, so I'm gonna do unit sales per month, and I want to see per unit sales per month. So I'm gonna do 2,500. I'm gonna take away the zeros at the end, so it's 250 divided by 8, and so I'm gonna divide that, and then I'm gonna get 30 or whatever. And then for the next line, 2,400 divided by 120. I'll take off the zeros, so it's 240 divided by 12, and that's 20. Like really walking through my math. So it's like you're not just like putting. So then the interviewer you can always ask. So does that sound right? Like, is that right? And then yes,
Yeah,
So
I've gotten that feedback before too. I have to be more careful about that because it's like if you say it out loud, the interviewer can say you're going wrong here and like can interject, right? And you also show teamwork, like not like, oh, I just put my head down and figured it out on my own.
Yeah, definitely that's like because like the case math, like you can do math, no problem, but it's just like when you're stumbling. So like I had to like jump in here for the last part, right? 85 divided by 50 or whatever, right? Like cut the zeros off, 85 divided by 5, and then 17, right? So we could have like walked through it together, and that's no issue, right? We can do it as long, but definitely like that's something of what's up. So when we do this case again, right? Let's try and like make notes. Like let's walk through the math together, and then so and as well again returning to revenue as revenue. So the best use of space. Let me see. Yeah, so I wrote here objective, increase revenue, North Star, and like again walk me through your math, and then refer back to the objective. So that's I'll clean up this whole email to make it like easier for you to read. But yeah, definitely North Star, and also with the math, right? Like communicate again, like really like, okay, 25 2,700, cut off the zeros, 270 divided by 9, that's 30, and then 30 times 100, that's 3,000, and the same thing here, like 600. Yeah, I get my point, but like I just 600 divided by 30, cut the zeros off, 60 divided by 3, 20, and then 20 times 150, so that's 50 times 2, and it's 30 times 0 times with the 0, that's 3,000. You know what I mean? Like really, like I mean that's how I would do it. I don't know if that's like the right way, right?
Yeah, like, no, I would like I'm more a visual person, so I do have to write it down like when I multiply instead of like doing it in my head. With some numbers I can do it in my head, but I should definitely like say what I'm doing, like like for instance, like 24 multiplied by 12, and so then I get 20, like or whatever. The math was there, sorry. But
yeah, I think personally, I probably do it too much, because I'm just saying like cut zero. I'm not sure if that's actually the right way to do it, but you know what I mean, right? Like however we do, let's really walk through it together,
Yeah, I agree. I really need to do that.
Yeah, so let's do this case again tomorrow, and we'll try it again, right? So so keep going. Yep, that's good. So yeah, we decide. Yep, looks like the bags and the shoes. The bags and the shoes are good to go. Another thing that like we need to work on is like the synthesis, right? So again, like going back to your objective, we calculate this revenue per square meter, but what does that mean, right? And so
so
what does that mean? And so we can go back to the client, and they in the client situation, they say they sell both bags and shoes, And so what could have been is like, oh, we found out the bags and shoes actually has more revenue per square meters.
Yeah, and the newer
So
categories are doing as well.
yeah, this client is already selling bags and shoes, so they should keep selling bags and shoes. They should,
Yeah, like
expand.
what I learned is like with the synthesis, it's like you would say, okay, what could be the main drivers of this? The shoes and bags are doing really well. That's mainly what the client produces. And the implications of that is that the client should focus on capitalizing on these categories more, just because they're that's the main categories they focus on and the ones that are given most of the display space in the store and are generating the most revenue.
Yeah, exactly. And so again, like with the other three product categories that like, yeah, those were not be, they would decrease revenues. So those are basically the ideas to gain from this. From the possible geographic locations, let me see what I wrote. Yeah, great job with supply. Really, that was a really good job. Just knowing, supply chain, with the manufacturing strategy. So is the sourcing and manufacturing viable? So that was a good note that you had. As well, you made a great note about the customers. So you said income levels, awareness about luxury brands. So that was really good. A couple of other ones could be the legal environment, the availability. Oh yeah, this one was good too. Availability, supply, and distribution. I think you kind of hit on that too. So really going back to that was really a great job. Going back to the mini MBA module, the supply chain. I don't think I would have gotten that. But yeah, and you also, did you say existing competition? I forget.
I did not say that, no.
Okay, that's okay. So we'll come back to that. But yeah, and so manufacturing. All right, that's great. So you came up with some good points. And so with the market entry brainstorm, yeah, I think this is just a return to the mini MBA module because this like organic growth, licensing. You got this one. You got this one is like going to a third party to like help make it. The thing is, I'm not super sure where the like luxury, like the vegan and like the luggage and AirPods. I'm not sure what exactly you said, but I'm not sure where that came from. Like because the thing I noticed that our products are pretty much nailed down now, right? We have our shoes and our bags, right? And so introducing
I was just considering like new entry, like new product wise, what new markets they can enter.
Yeah. But yeah, so definitely I think this is just a fact of going back to the like acquisition, right? Acquisition, organic growth, those would be something to consider. And then overall with the conclusion, overall great job with asking for time for each. I don't think he took that much time for each one, so that was good. So yeah, I'm not sure where it came from, but I'm just looking for terms. But yeah, and also, so yeah, overall, yeah, I think that's where it's at. A couple of side notes that I noticed. I'm not sure how you're doing your papers right now because I saw you flipping through papers.
Yeah, so today I didn't use my graph paper, like I'm using a notebook, so I had to flip through it. But yeah, I don't do that, so I have like loose paper and then
exactly
to go through it.
Exactly.
But yeah, that was the issue. So I should make sure of that. That next time I'll make sure
that would just be easier for you, right? So flip, because like flipping back and forth, I noticed that I'm like, oh, that's that's not how you do it, real, right? You know what I mean? So it'd be easy to do it.
Yeah.
And I think another. Oh, can you see my screen still, by the way?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I think like I noted one but like definitely like for example when you open transition the opening to the framework there are a couple lines that from the module whatever but that just nail it. So just when you transition from opening the framework, just get this like verbatim, right? Thank you. Can I more come on search my thoughts, then we could walk through my approach together. Just like get that like verbatim, and say that slowly and confident, right? There are a couple of those. I'll try and look back and find which one. There's another one for like conclusion or something, but just getting those like verbatim, verbatim.
I was about typing up like a cue card of those.
Exactly.
Like I know the first one was like, okay, structure like this, and then Andrew had said that always say, could I take I'm going to, if it's okay with you, I'm going to take a minute to structure a approach addressing the problem of XYZ of X. Do you think that's the right approach? And the person says yes. Okay, I'm going to do that now. I'll just have a moment. And then you
go. Absolutely. So yeah, just get it verbatim, right? Get it just the same every time, I mean? Just the same every time, so it's not like, I think that is structure. If I could take a moment, you get what I mean, right? You get what I mean. Just get it verbatim, or exactly what is Andrew your case coach?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Yes.
but yeah, I hope you know what we're talking about, right? Just get it verbatim,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
execute or the way you say it, or whatever.
Mhm. Yeah.
But yeah, so those were mostly my thoughts. I'll send you these notes right now. I'll send the YouTube link a little bit later because I have somewhere to be at noon or 3 p.m. Eastern, so
Yeah.
I need to but I'll take a second, clean up these notes.
Mhm.
I'll send you the YouTube video later because that takes a little
Yeah.
while to upload. But yeah,
Yeah.
let's put a time on for tomorrow. Let's do that right now.
Mhm.
And let's do this exact same case over again. You know what I mean?
Great. Yeah.
So we can just
Yeah.
nail down all the
Mhm.
whatevers, right?
Mhm.
So how about does the same time tomorrow work for you?
Yes, it works for me.
Okay. Let me just quickly send you that again. Lovepreet.
Mhm. But like overall, do you see like growth in my ability to do cases, or what are you thinking?
Yeah. I
Like
I
looking
think
back. Mhm.
yeah, I think definitely we're getting there, but it's just we still have a lot of work to do. I think when you saw the modules like in the module, oh shoot, this I forgot which one it goes up and then around like the
Yeah.
skill level. I think
Yeah.
we're coming up right now. We're coming up.
Yeah, yeah. My only
But
stress is my stress right now is like I have an interview on Friday, so it's like I
yeah,
want to be presentable.
okay, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a
Okay,
yeah.
so yeah, let's redo this case
Mhm,
tomorrow.
mhm.
I definitely what time is it on Friday that you do your case?
My interview's at 2 o'clock.
Two o'clock Eastern.
Mhm.
Okay. So yeah, I definitely think we should make the best use of our time. Let me quickly hold on. Let me stop
Yeah,
this.
like what I'm thinking about doing now is I'm going to review the case I did with my case coach yesterday, and then I was thinking about reviewing more about structuring. I think my structure was better today because when I talked about it, I customized more. If you would you agree on that?
Yeah, that's also a note I make. Great job customizing for
Okay,
each
yeah,
section and
that
stuff
was
like
something I really like put my mind yesterday, and then the rest is like obviously when I see an exhibit, like what's the question? The question is
what's the
increasing
question?
revenue, like
Yeah.
I really have to. That's something I made a note of, but I have to work on more. And because then you can be like, okay, this is a single value. Okay, divide this to get a ratio, then
Mhm.
use that value to multiply and get the revenue per unit,
Exactly. Yeah.
and
Yeah. Always come back to the objective. That's something I really had trouble with my case coach. She
yeah.
goes, come back to the objective. Come back
Yeah,
to
like I had that problem yesterday as well. Like that case I did yesterday, it was like the question was what are the main drivers that are resulting in their decline in their
Mhm.
profitability? But like when I was solving or like even presenting my case, it was like, oh, as if I didn't remember the question. Today I think
Mhm.
I did a better job during the structure, but I lost track of that. Like when I saw the exhibit, I was like, what the hell? Like what do I do?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I lost it there.
Yeah. And
Definitely.
just add some like big stars next to that, like
Yeah, I'm just
North
gonna
Star. Like
draw stars
that is
everywhere.
it. That is our,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Because
then I
otherwise you're just like meandering, right? Otherwise it's
yeah,
just like where are
exactly.
you
It's like, oh,
going?
what am I
Okay.
doing? What was the point of
Yeah.
this?
Like
If you
for
remember, like,
example with like the percent like Squarespace of each one like
yeah,
again right if we're focusing on revenue
yeah, exactly. Like the percent doesn't really matter, right? And then
yeah
you realize like, okay, so this is this number of display space in units. And also my problem was I thought the last column was the total revenue per the month, but it's
mhm,
units sold.
mhm,
So clarify that confirming are these units sold, like confirm your understanding, right? Because there
mhm,
was no dollar sign, right?
mhm,
So that's the unit. So it's like, okay, so you have the display space at large, then calculate the ratio of per unit. Once you have per unit, multiply that by the dollar amount to get the revenue generated per square feet. And that obviously makes sense because in the beginning, why would they mention how much space they have,
mhm,
in the whole store? And also that the way they make money is by the display. There's no one selling the stuff.
mhm. So yeah great so overall there are a couple things overall ways to improve so definitely I just want to share so the customization was great you got on some main issues that come with revenue growth so overall
Yeah.
ways to grow though
Mhm.
well one is return to objective
Yeah.
two I would say is um what would I say walk through the math definitely
Yeah.
um what else would you say I mean, like, for example, that, yeah, so walk through the math, returns to the objective. Good job clarifying with the target. Oh, and the actual presentation, like, like making sure, like, you can ask, maybe, like, be a little round, but when it comes to like transition from opening structure, from conclusion, just like in regards to the or however, in regards to the objective of increasing revenue for our client.
Yeah,
This is what, I mean, just like nailing those, like just like
yeah,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 line, like
yeah,
three or four lines, just nailing them, right? Because everything else, just like, but as long maybe, I mean, of course, the ideal case is the whole thing, what I mean? But
yeah,
like
yeah.
getting those transitions right,
Yeah, those are like basic points, you know?
yeah,
Hmm.
presentation, um, say transition, yeah, and that'll take, like, I mean, that'll take like 15 minutes, right, to just rehearse
Yeah.
it, or whatever.
Yeah. And
Say
also, I
transition.
remember in my brainstorming to be Misi, like, I went on to describe like 3 ways they can, introduce a new product possibly, right? But that could have just been a category. So it could be, improve marketing and sales, then to acquire a different company. So that can be acquiring a company that, makes bags, like a smaller company that makes even higher quality bags, then go be ultra premium, or 4, have new products, And then my last point, which was I did brainstorm in a different way, but it's like, okay, how can they increase revenue? Well, they can do licensing, they can do joint venture, acquisition, export, organic growth. So organic growth would be,
Yeah,
internal to them.
exactly. So just reviewing the mini MBA modules, just like just
Yeah.
flip through the
Yeah.
presentation super
Like
quick.
I know these things, but the terms,
Yeah, you do know, and you know how to do all of it. It's just practice, and so I think that's why I'm doing it again tomorrow. And then reviewing the mini MBA modules. There's something else I'm forgetting, but I think that's a good place to start. So how about this? How about tomorrow we actually redo both cases, so we can redo the luxury case again tomorrow. But if you could send me the case that you did with your case coach, we can do
Yeah.
that also again tomorrow. So.
Yeah, I think it was called Med Division, so I'll find it online and send it to you.
Okay. I mean, you could just ask your coach to send you it, right? You can just
Yeah,
ask him.
yeah, he sent me like a link, and then he sent me the feedback, but not the actual case. But I can
Oh,
find it on. I could probably find it on there.
okay.
If I can, like search it, right?
Okay, that'll take like 2 minutes, right? So,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
So
exactly.
I'll look at that and send that to you today.
Yeah,
So I'll
send
just.
that to me.
Mhm.
Yeah, so we can, so how about we redo the luxury case tomorrow at 8 p.m.
Mhm.
Actually, hold on. I'm just looking at my schedule tomorrow. How about we, yeah, I mean, 8 p.m. is kind of too late. How about we redo the luxury case tomorrow at 6 p.m.
Okay.
Eastern?
Hmm.
And then we can do the one that you did with your case coach tomorrow at this time, right? The 11. Oh no, the 1 p.m. The 1
Hmm.
p.m.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah.
Yeah, so let me what's the case called that you did with your case coach?
Med Division.
What?
Med Division. MED Vision.
Oh, Med Vision. Okay.
Mhm.
So yeah, that sounds good. So yeah, so let me invite you to it. So yeah, definitely a lot of time today. Review just like what we talked about, because like it's the same stuff, right? It's the same stuff that comes again and again. It's the math part, walking it through. It's the
Mhm.
returns to
Yeah, it's
objective.
the same. It's the same things. Yeah, and then one thing I
Yeah.
also realized with more practice, you realize like what are the points? Like for instance, here, like considering price, average price, quantity, price
Mhm.
sold, new income streams. You know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
get in the habit of that,
Yeah.
and then you customize for the client.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. So you did a cost cutting case with your coach, basically?
No, so it was really just determining why are they not profitable? So what are the
Okay. Okay.
drivers?
Oh,
And
so it's a
then.
okay. So it's like a profitability case, basically.
Yeah, profitable. Yeah,
Okay.
basically, right? And then it was like, oh, there was this chart, and it's like, from this, what can you infer about these? So what the hospital was, the company's nervous about is that their salespeople are doing something wrong, which is why their profit has gone down. So it's like determining what's a equation you can develop to see what's going on over here. So we realize is that the people that are the employee that's selling more is giving least amount of discounts, and the employee that's selling less is giving more discounts, which is a problem, right?
Okay.
And then another thing, another math aspect was they give you the previous revenue and volume, and you have to determine what the old one was, and then from there determine what the average price was per what they're selling. And then in the beginning you have to determine what you want to look at. So do you want to look at where do you think the profit's going down? Is it the machines, or is it this film that they sell? And it would be the film, because there's no barriers to entry, anyone could be making the film.
Absolutely. So I'll review that case before we meet tomorrow. I just want to see how you could best use your time for today and tomorrow. I think the rest of today, if you can just look at the math again, look at the MBA modules, look at the structuring and all that stuff, and then look at just the technical stuff, like literally the you know what I mean, the whatever, like the hard, like the math and the concepts or whatever, and just redo it, and watch your old video, so that and definitely I think first thing to do is like watch the what I'll send you, and also what your case coach, right, like watch those videos and like take a note, and then follow up with the hard I'm not sure.
Yeah, so what I was thinking about focusing on today is reviewing. So I was going to review structuring, but I feel like structuring I'm doing a lot better, but I'll read some more about structuring.
Yeah.
And then I was going to focus more on exhibits. So looking at exhibit and not panicking, like this is what I should do here. And I was also going to focus more on, like after reviewing that, the math. So like also with Andrew, when I go to his case again, I'll out loud say this is what I'm doing, to myself. And then I'll review the mini MBA.
Yeah, that's definitely the math part, like I see again and again. I mean, and that's the thing too, it's the same problem. You're not suddenly like, oh my gosh, like my frameworks aren't customized, or my whatever, right? It's the same problem. So it's not like we're narrowing it down what you need to work on.
We're narrowing it down,
so yeah, that's good. So tomorrow let's redo both cases together, and then however you want to review it, just make sure like by tomorrow 1 p.m. and tomorrow 6 p.m. you're just like ready to like nail them. And then on Wednesday let's do a brand new case, and then do you want to do and so what time is your Friday?
It's a 2 p.m. But I'll leave my house around 12. I'm wondering if Thursday I shouldn't do a case, just like prep otherwise, like maybe do like parts of a case, like the math part, reviewing what would I do here.
Okay.
And practicing like that, and practicing just going over like opening, ending, like the basics, right, like the wording, and like just practicing in segments maybe on Thursday, and reviewing the Excel stuff. So the firm, they're going to do an Excel case too, so just making sure I know that stuff. And then also they focus on pricing and revenue maximization. So they're like, they want you to know like what are the ways to like quantify pricing, and then what are things you want to consider when you change price of something. So it's like, we would consider price elasticity, like do our customers going to be respective of this price? We would consider if the price is meeting like our cost, so is it comparable there? So just making notes of some of those things about pricing, because the firm, that's their focus. So those are notes I'm going to have to review on Thursday.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So let's do that. Well, what I'm thinking is, all right, we'll redo both cases tomorrow on Tuesday. On Wednesday, let's do a new case, and then Thursday we can redo that one case, just one case. You already know it, and then review all the notes, and then on Friday before. Okay, so I'm just gonna drop something on Thursday. I'll just say redo Wednesday case. Wednesday case with Lovepreet. Oh my gosh, with Lovepreet.
Then like if you want like Friday evening, we can schedule a case for you, and then Friday Saturday case.
Yeah, sure, that'd be cool. Maybe more like your evening and my afternoon. So let me see. Oh shit. Okay, so yeah. Lovepreet. And then I'm thinking for you just on Friday morning or whatever. Like, I've obviously don't do it again, but I would just say like flip through all the MCO modules, like 10 minutes for structuring, 10 minutes for whatever, and just don't actually write, but like just get all those ideas in your head, right? Or whatever's relevant. Do you know what kind of case you'll be having other than the
Yeah,
external
so they're
case?
saying it's probably going to be a revenue, like, oh, the client wants to increase their revenue by 20%, like that
Great,
kind of
great.
thing. Because after my first interview, the individual who did it, she was like, oh, the case is probably going to be a revenue increasing case. So it's
Mhm.
like, oh, the client needs to increase their revenue by 20%, and then you being able to do that. And she's like, know how to do break-even analysis. So, like fixed cost divided by not variable, but the sale price minus variable price. So that's what I
Okay.
was told.
So on Wednesday, should I get you another what kind
Yeah,
of case? Like revenue?
yeah, we should do revenue.
Okay, revenue building.
Mhm.
Not profitability. You don't want to do profitability?
No, just because obviously we could do any kind of case and it's really the core elements, but
Mhm.
like she did say that, oh, the case would be a revenue increasing case.
Okay,
I'm
cool.
like, might as well practice that.
Absolutely. Okay, great. I'll get you exactly that.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, great. I have to get going right now. My notes on the email are a little bit messy. I hope you're. I think it's okay. I no. I think overall it's fine. I'll just send you here. Let me just spread each one out.
Mhm.
Design with form. Um. Okay. Let me just spread these out a little bit so you know which one's which. Um, great. And then so yeah, just definitely key concepts um
Mhm.
revenue growth, especially those new market entry revenue
Yeah.
growth like acquisition and third party
Mhm.
vendor or whatever, right?
Yeah, so it was like increasing the marketing and sales,
Yeah.
acquisition of another company, moving to another category, so being ultra premium, for example, and then introducing new products. And then the other one, which was about factors that we would consider, sorry, was that factors we would consider?
Yeah, I just here I crap.
No,
I here let
there's a
me
third one, right?
yeah.
Which was about like the joint venture acquisition,
Yeah.
export. What was that about? Was that also?
I just think this little I think this
Yeah,
is just great news.
this is
Yeah.
the new entry.
Yeah, just overall, just like these are some good ones. Yeah. And they have the
Yeah.
pros and cons here too. So yeah,
Mhm.
it's
Yeah,
good.
did you link this case in the email as well?
Yep. I got a LinkedIn email. It's page 9. I have everything in the email. And
Mhm.
I'll send you the YouTube link later today once it's done
Yeah,
processing. So yeah,
yeah, no problem.
I have it linked right now. You could like as soon as I send this email, I'll just send it right. Oops. I'll just send it right now.
Okay.
Let me hold on, let me make sure. US luxury brand. Okay. Um, okay. Cool. I'll nice examples for this interview. Okay. Okay, cool. Okay, great. I gotta get going because I have somewhere to be at 3 p.m. Eastern. Let me just make sure I'm not late. Okay, good. All right, cool. Yeah, I'm okay. So I gotta get going right now. This is the perfect time. And yeah, and I'll send you the YouTube link later today. So
Thank you
I'm
so
gonna
much for
stop
that.
recording right now. Hold on.
Yeah, thank you.
Ah, shit. How do I do that? Okay, let me stop sharing. Yep. All right,
Mhm.
I'll stop.